Policy Subcommittee meeting for April 4th, 2023. So tonight on the agenda is to discuss sections H, which pertains to negotiations, and section I, which pertains to instruction. So the plan for tonight is just to kind of try to get through. Oh, thank you. Roll call, please.
Member Dugan.
Present.
Member Magnolia.
Present.
Sorry about that. Thank you. The plan for tonight is to just try to get through as much of it as we can. And so, without further ado, I guess we'll start with section H. Is that okay with you?
I'm sure we'll get through section H. Section I doubt we'll get through.
Is a little meatier, yeah. And
It's one of the two larger sections.
yeah, and just to the public, we have Dorothy Presser with us here from the MASC to help us along, so.
Massachusetts Association of School Committees.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct, thank you. So section H, Dorothy, I guess we can just kind of dive in and
Sure.
let's kind of
Sure.
go line for line and see what we got.
Okay. So the first policy in the section is actually not a policy. It's H, negotiations. It looks like at one time in the very distant past, it might have been an introduction that MASC had for section H. But nobody who's on staff now, which is people who have been on for almost 30 years, remembers it at all. So it's not a policy, and I would just recommend deleting it.
Okay. So that's just that H, and then HA is separate?
HA is separate.
HA is separate.
Yep,
Okay.
HA is separate. So HA, there is a Lynn version and an MASC version. There's a phrase in the MASC version that isn't in the Lynn version, which is the second sentence of the first paragraph. Other than that, the policies are exactly the same.
Okay.
So the first paragraph reads, the Lynn School Committee recognizes that education is a public trust. In negotiations, this objective may be best attained if there is a climate of mutual trust and understanding between the negotiating parties. In negotiation, how about that? They are the same. Where did I see the difference?
It's therefore is dedicated to providing the best possible educational opportunities for the young people of
Yep.
this community is in the MASC version.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, it's after the semicolon.
Okay.
Do you have a feeling one way or another?
I would prefer probably the MASC version. Do you have a
I-
preference?
No, I have no preference.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
know that bit after the semicolon makes a tremendous amount of difference for negotiations goals, except that it makes the students front and center. So in that sense, maybe we
Yeah.
go with the MASC version.
That's what I was thinking, yeah,
Okay.
as
I
well.
would,
Yeah.
I would concur with that.
Mhm.
HB was interesting, because we have HB, just HB, which is negotiation legal status, and Lynn has it combined with other policies. Negotiating agents, which we have a separate policy on negotiating agents, and the superintendent's role. I felt like it was sort of interesting because the MASC version talks about the employee rights. MASC document addresses the employee rights in negotiation, while the Lynn focuses on the employer rights. And it also it has it in the policy, but it didn't seem to address negotiating agents. So I feel like anything with negotiating agents will be dealing with in another policy later. But I don't know if maybe you wanted to sort of meld the two policies a
Okay.
little bit to come up with something that addressed the different.
Sure, let's take a look. Co-negotiated agreement. know. Dr. Magnolia, do you have any thoughts on that one? Kind of.
I think we should meld them.
Yeah.
So if we fuse HB, HF, HG, taking both the Lynn and the MASC, then we would get the best of both worlds.
I agree, because I think they both address different things that the other one doesn't specifically. Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about, like, the order of how they would be melded?
Okay. Let me just
Let's
put my
see.
Yeah.
thinking cap on for
Yeah.
a second. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So I'm on HBHFHG. It would start with as to every meta paragraph.
Yeah.
The next paragraph is also on that with reference to negotiated agreements. Then we insert the MASC language, all negotiations between the school committee and recognized employee groups.
And then the last paragraph.
And then,
of that-
yes, with reference to negotiated agreements, the superintendent as chief
Right.
executive officer. So it basically.
Yep, that makes sense. It makes a
does
good
make
flow.
sense.
Yeah, the MASC is inserted between the second and third paragraphs.
Yep, that makes a good flow. Okay. Okay, so HB-R looked to me to be either verbatim or a summary of Chapter 150E, and
Yes.
not appropriate to be in the policy manual. Make sense?
Yep.
So we'll
It does.
delete that. HC, the scope of negotiations is not a policy. It's just a list of the
It's
agreements,
a list of the agreements, correct?
so I would take that out.
Yep.
Yes. See.
Negotiation procedures, our modus operandi so far is to take out anything that's strictly procedures from the
Procedures,
manual.
yeah.
So that would come out. HE again is just another list. So that should come out.
That would come out.
HE-R, again, is just definitions that come from 150E, so that would come out. Still with me?
HE-R.
Yep. And HF is the policy on negotiating agents,
Okay.
which is named in the other policy, but not in the content of the policy. So
Got it.
here's the content.
Okay.
This is MASC.
Yes.
There is not an equivalent.
There isn't a Lynn one, so we
There isn't
add.
a Lynn one.
So we would add
Yeah,
that.
recommend
Okay.
adding
So
that one.
add, okay. So if we circle back around to HER for a moment, are we saying delete that?
Yes.
Because it's definitions. Okay,
it's
thank you.
just
Thank you,
definitions.
thank you.
Yep.
All right.
Take that. HH again is another list of, so that could come out. It's just
I
a list
wonder
of.
why they have all of these lists.
I don't know. Not sure. HH,
Again,
there's two HHs actually. So, and the second H, staff negotiating organizations, again, is really just a summary of
the law.
150E, so it can come out too.
See, right.
HPA is another list. So, that can come out. And,
This is also 150E.
yep, it's also 150E, so it can come out.
That's in the law.
So
I am well
just to-
aware of that one.
There are, in the reference manual, there really are only 3 policies in section H.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you've got them all now,
Okay.
We do.
and that's all you have.
And we managed to splice 2 together.
We did.
Yes, yep.
Look at that.
Very efficient.
So that is section H. Diving from the short into the
For the very short.
very short to the very long.
Section I is long, yes.
Is quite long.
Who knows, though, at this pace, man.
I know. I mean, we are cruising. Should we
They're a
make
little more
motion to
complicated.
move H to-
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to move H to the full committee.
Second. So the adopted version that we just put forward, right? Roll call,
Yes.
please.
Member Dugan?
Yes.
Member Magnolia?
Yes.
Okay.
So tell me when you're ready.
I think I'm ready, Dr. Magnolia. You ready to go?
I'm ready to
All
go.
right.
All right.
Section I.
So IA is a Lynn policy only. It looks to me like it is something from the state that actually predates ed reform. So I would take it out.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
probably a good idea.
And the same is true for IA-R. It looks like it comes from something from 1971.
Look at that. There's really not much has changed in education since 1971.
No. Nothing's changed in the 20 years I've been involved in it. Absolutely nothing.
Yep. Okay.
So IB, actually, the 2 versions of the policy match, except for the one very small word, where our model policy says Commonwealth and yours says state. That's the only difference.
I would think we should have Commonwealth.
I think we should
considering
too.
we are a
Yes,
Commonwealth.
I think Commonwealth is the appropriate change for that one.
Okay. So the IC/ICA, the 2 policies basically have the same information, even though they're laid out a little bit differently.
Okay.
The only note that I would make is in both 1 and 2, there's a phrase that the second sentence starts, no later than 1997-98 school years. That phrase can probably be deleted.
I would think it can,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, and the other thing is that the MASC policy has an additional bullet, just noting that when a calendar for the school year is made, it's supposed to, according to the state, have 185 days in it.
Oh, right, to account for snow, right.
Yeah. So in this case, it might be easier to just say, take the MASC, because,
I think so,
Yeah.
because the other 2 parts are identical.
yeah.
Yeah,
Except for the striking of the 97, 98,
yeah,
Right.
which would have to
Which
be
is
struck
already gone.
twice.
Yeah.
which would have to be struck twice, so you're right.
Yeah.
So if
And we
just
would want to
adopt
then
this.
add that, so let's just take the MASC
Yes,
policy.
I agree.
Okay.
So on the ID, the school day, this is one where I think you might want to look at the MASC policy, just being a little clearer and more explicit. First of all, noting that the length of the school day is actually a part of the collective bargaining agreements.
Oh, okay.
And, how changes can be made and how parents are informed about opening and closing time and whether students are allowed into the building early.
Yeah, I would recommend adopting the MASC version.
I agree, just that first sentence, the
Yeah.
collective bargaining agreements
Yeah.
are very important to the school day, yes. Okay.
So IE, I would suggest you might also want to look at the MASC version as being a little bit more comprehensive in what it covers.
67.
The only thing that we want to make sure is that it correctly reflects the organization of instructor levels and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, so my question is, do we need to add pre-K
Yeah.
to the primary elementary level for the
Yeah,
MASC
I
version?
have a little note that says PK.
Okay,
We do need to do that.
okay.
So,
Okay, so we're going to adopt the MASC version
Yeah.
with this addition
Of pre-K.
of before the word kindergarten
yeah,
with pre-K.
so it would be pre-kindergarten through grade 5?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing is you probably want to take out the parenthetical in the, above that, the for example.
Okay. What does that do to affect O'Leary, though?
That's what I was just thinking.
We have one combined
Right.
middle and high school.
But is it
Well, it's
within the building, is it differentiated between, is it a middle school and a high school in one building?
I believe it is. Yeah, I know it is. I would think they differentiate, but I would have to hear from Maura how they do that. The principal, how they do that. So we might want to hold off on
Okay.
that.
Good.
Yeah.
Put a hold on this one.
Third floor is the middle school,
Okay.
first and second.
And the first and second is high school. So it is sort of housed separately. Yeah, it's in the same building, though. That's the only concern.
Yeah, because that paragraph that says the primary elementary level includes schools with pre-K through 5th grade, the middle level consists of schools for. So this is the separation, and I would say we might need a sentence to the effect of, such blending or mixing, something to that effect
Yeah.
is the determination of the superintendent, or, it fits in with an educational plan or something like that, that allows, right, there to be a school that would mix grades.
Could you take out the phrase of schools? The middle level consists of grades 6, 7, and 8. The secondary level consists of grades 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
We could do that. I
So if
think
we
that
just
would-
take the word
right.
schools out of the 4th paragraph, there are 3 schools that would be struck from that.
Correct.
And then we wouldn't have to worry about
Then we wouldn't have to worry
O'Leary.
about Factolary, right? Because it would just,
You're talking the fourth paragraph?
the 4th paragraph.
Yeah, 4th paragraph,
Yeah,
sorry, I
yeah.
said 3rd. So we're striking the for example between the parentheses. In the 4th paragraph, we are adding pre-K and removing kindergarten, and then removing the word schools.
I think you need to remove schools with and of schools.
Yes, we need the, so, just so I
Yes.
have this squared away in my head, it would read, the primary elementary level includes pre-K, kindergarten through grade 5. Excuse me, the middle level consists of grades 6, 7, and 8.
Yep.
Okay, the secondary level consists of grades 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Yep.
Okay.
Deb, did you get that?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, great, thank you. So, yeah, I think with
Thank you.
those
Yeah.
changes, yeah, we should be good to go.
Instructional levels. It seems, for one thing, this seems like it's more appropriate for the high school handbook than for a policy. And my guess is it's probably not current. Because I know you have the vocational school and other, that,
We do.
And early college
yeah.
does not work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would just
Just
strike it.
strike it.
Yeah.
Business.
Yeah, and there's nothing about AP either.
Yeah.
AP classes. So yeah, I would,
Yeah.
strike that.
It all relates to the high school, so it
Yeah.
doesn't, it seems more appropriate for the high school handbook than.
Yeah.
Correct.
um,
So again, just to kind of come back to that, we should probably make sure the high school handbook has those things before we, I mean, we can strike it from ours, but is there a way to?
I am certain that they
I would
have a
think they have it, but I don't
differentiation
know
between
100%, yeah.
levels.
I would think so, but okay.
I can't see that there is nothing codified about the difference between AP,
Right.
early college.
Either in the handbook or in the program of
Or
studies.
the program.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I don't think if we get rid of it here, it just disappears.
No,
into the ether.
yeah, I was a little, yeah, no, just goes up into the cloud and disappears, right?
So IGA, you notice the Lynn version is quite a bit longer than the MASC version, and seems more like it is
Procedure.
a procedure rather than a policy.
Okay. Yes. I think we should probably strike ours and adopt the MASC, sorry.
Getting the buildings too, MSBA.
Yes, I know. I'm doing my best, as I
We have a lot
said.
going on.
There's a lot of acronyms in this brain right now.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, that's definitely policy, and, okay.
And I would say IGA-E also looks very much like it is procedural as opposed to policy. Especially given by, it was prepared by members of the admission staff at Colgate University.
Yeah, I was looking at, it begins in, it is clear to many of us in the college admission profession.
Yeah.
So we saying strike that
Yes,
completely?
I would
Yeah.
strike
Right,
that
yeah, I
completely.
agree.
Yeah.
Who would put this in here?
IGA-R to me falls in the same procedural as opposed to policy.
So there's a little philosophy mixed in there as well.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Do you think we should remove the procedure and keep the philosophy?
So let's look back at IGA and see if you've got that. Anyway. Because IGA really is more the philosophy itself.
Okay. Okay, so just give me a second to do a
Yeah,
little.
of course.
Absolutely.
Of course, there's a typo in it too. Drives me crazy. I think the only part of IGAR that I would add to IGA is the school committee should be kept informed of the work of the various program planning groups, because that is something that we do.
It is.
So if we add that to the IGA second paragraph, the committee expects the faculty and administration to regularly evaluate the education program and to recommend modifications of practice, changes in curriculum content, and the addition or deletion of courses to the instructional program. The school committee should be kept informed of the work of the various program planning groups. just that one sentence.
Just, yeah, I agree.
I think
what I
that's the
boxed
only
out as well.
philosophy that I would carry over.
Could
Yeah, I
you say
agree.
which sentence that is again?
Okay, it's in IGAR,
IGAR.
and it is the penultimate sentence of the first paragraph.
Okay.
And it should be added to the second paragraph of IGA.
The MASC version.
The MASC
Correct.
version, correct. So we'd add that right at the end.
Yep.
Okay.
I think that flows
Yeah,
well.
I agree.
It does.
And it keeps the philosophy in this.
It does. And then it also, obviously provides the committee
Yep.
information that we're going to need to make curriculum decisions, so that's good.
We're supposed to use the word committee again instead of school committee, I think is the only thing, right? The committee expects the faculty, the committee should be informed, just to keep parallel structure here.
Correct. Yes, the MASC
Of
version
the-
refers to it as the committee. Did you get that, Mary?
So it should just say committee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Would you like me to reread just to make sure the new IGA?
Sure.
Or do you have it, Deb?
I think I have it. It's just going to be the last sentence to say, "The committee
Yep.
should be kept informed of the work of the various program planning groups."
Correct.
Correct.
Yep.
Perfect.
And then we strike IGAR.
Correct.
Look at that.
So IGB, you may want to look at, which one you feel better fits the district. It may be a case where you want to keep the Lynn policy or most of the Lynn policy. Although learning support services might be not the term you want to use.
No.
Is this how that actually works now? Do we have coordinating personnel for specific curricular areas are assigned by the administration?
I believe so. So I think that would be coaches and CITs. Sounds like the job they're doing.
So much of the idea of this is it's 504.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
As
504
opposed to-
plans,
yeah.
right?
What if we change under the Lynn version of support services and substitute the MASC paragraph that does the same?
That second paragraph?
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the job of we'd have to change assistant to deputy, but is that the
Yeah.
charge of the deputy superintendent?
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah.
If that is the charge, I think the
Yeah.
MASC states it better,
Yeah.
but if it's not the charge of the deputy
I
superintendent,
don't want it there.
you don't want it there.
No.
Should we put it to the side and
We
let,
may need to put that to the side. I think we need to find out a little bit more of
Who does what.
actually doing
Yeah.
504s and things of that nature.
because
So-
it might be the director of special ed.
It very well could be.
And
Someone
not
that
the-
works under
Yeah.
that person, yeah.
So we just want to put it aside and then we can worry about some of the language.
Yeah,
and
because
stuff
it,
once
it,
it's
it might,
clarified.
it might need to say the, director of special education, or it might need to, I don't know what the configuration is. My sense is that we do still want to take the, second paragraph from MASC and substitute it under support services, but
Yeah, I agree
we
with
do,
that.
we do want to reflect who does what.
It's just the title. The deputy
Yep.
superintendent
Yeah.
may not actually be doing that right now. So we'll put a hold on IGB, okay. And I will reach out to Superintendent Ruggiero, see if we can get more information.
Okay. IG, what's next? So remedial instruction, I would delete.
I agree.
Sorry.
That's
Yes.
IGBE, right?
Yep.
Yep. So that would be deleted.
Yep.
And IGBH, if you're taking the MASC version of IGD, which we'll talk about, oh, I'm sorry, is that a typo? Then I don't think you need IGBH. I think I meant IGB there. Because you're already talking about, in that, you're already talking about some of the alternative programs.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, MASC, which
Yeah,
one were you referencing?
I'm going to make
It might
sure
be
that I did not make
IGB.
a typo there.
That's okay.
This is very different than IGB,
Yeah.
It is.
and it's very different from IGD.
Every once in a while, when I'm going back and forth in different policies, I do make pretty good typos.
Oh.
Um,
It is
So
very different than
IGA
IGB.
talks about the addition or deletion of courses in the instructional program.
IGA?
Yeah.
Okay. IGA, okay.
Or you could leave it in place.
I think we leave it in place.
Yep.
I understand how it could fit with curriculum development, but because it's not talking about just curriculum, it's talking about a whole program.
Whole programs, correct.
To me, that necessitates.
Yep. Okay, we'll leave it in place.
Let me just read through and make sure
Yeah,
it
I
doesn't
just
have
wanna-
some retro
Right.
language here.
This does leave leeway for alternative programs. It's kind of a.
This is the
Seems
early
as-
college high school.
It is, yeah.
I think we leave it
Piece
exactly
of
as it is.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, but there's other parts that, it leaves it vague, which I like, because it's kind of per student, you know, what that particular student might need.
Can I be nitpicky and say we need to,
course.
we need to capitalize committee in the final sentence?
You
Of
can
course,
certainly do that.
of course. Yeah, I like this one. I think this is,
How about throughout the policy? There's a committee in the line above it that's also not.
Oh, yeah, throughout the
Yep.
policy. For
so
sure.
capital committee throughout the policy, correct? Yeah, I do think it's important to leave this. It does leave, as you said, early college, also,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just children who might need something a little bit different due to their circumstances, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I thought that IGD, the MASC version, seemed to fit better,
Okay.
partly because it does, it's more broad in not naming of the different protected classes, which would constantly need to be updated.
Okay, so there's, the big discrepancy here is the
Yeah.
approval
Yep.
rather than informed.
Informed. If we don't keep it approval,
Okay, so I'm imagining we have the ASL courses that are going in. What if the ASL person leaves and we don't approve the removal of ASL? What happens?
yeah, that's a very good question.
We were told ASL was coming in. I don't even
Yeah.
think that we voted that ASL should come in. And according to the way the policy is written now, we were supposed to vote
We should
on
have,
that.
according to the policy, yeah.
You should. I mean, so when we, you're talking about adding American Sign Language. So when we talk about curriculum, and according to the law, the school committee has authority over curriculum, and we usually talk about that in the big picture sense, right? If you're adding new, like deciding that you're going to start teaching a foreign language in kindergarten all the way up, as opposed to maybe only in the high school or the middle school. That those big curriculum adoptions fall under the purview of the school committee, and, changes to curriculum and keeping the curriculum updated would be more an administrative function. I mean, you're probably familiar with that.
Yeah,
so-
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, not everything has to go before the school committee, but
But the way the policy is written now suggests
everything should go before the school
that,
committee.
yes, that,
Yeah. So do we want to keep that? That's the question. Whereas,
so if you look at the MASC, right, the second paragraph says, "The committee itself will consider and officially adopt new programs and courses when they constitute an extensive alteration in instructional content or approach."
Yeah.
That's very different than ours, which is, "It is the policy of the school committee that no course of study shall be eliminated or new course added without the approval of the school committee, nor shall any basic alteration or reduction of a course of study be made without such approval." Those
Right.
are very
they're
different.
very different.
Yep.
They're very different. And honestly, when we got that ASL presentation, it was a presentation.
It was a
This
presentation.
is what we're doing.
Yes.
Right. Which I'm fine with that, obviously. I want that being done.
But it's in
So, and then
violation
if
of
you
But it's
look
in
at
vi-
the
it was.
last- But if you look at the last paragraph of the MASC version, that would kind of cover it, right?
Which is to be informed, which is what
Informed.
happened.
Well,
right?
actually, what they did is completely in line with the MASC policy. It's just in
Correct.
violation of our current
Of our
Lynn
Lynn
policy
policy.
is the point.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Which suggests taking the MASC policy, but I don't know if folks know that our Lynn policy is much more restrictive. And if,
And the MASC policy is much more in line with the intent
yes.
of ed reform.
Well, that's the thing. Do we know if the Lynn policy maybe predates ed reform? 'Cause it
Given
doesn't-
some of the other policies we've looked at tonight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, this one could, this one could.
I think we just go with the MASC policy then, because I think if we had to vote on every single course adoption or removal, that would be burdensome to the
Right.
committee.
And honestly, we're not doing that. So I
We're
think
not.
things are happening, and which is fine. We trust the people in charge, but yeah, no, that's not happening.
Okay, so IGD MASC version.
I think so.
I think we'll just highlight that,
Yeah, and then when we discuss it in the full committee, right, we'll highlight the
Yeah.
differences. But, yeah, this could be a good one to find out. That our Lynn version may not meet ed reform, so.
Yeah.
Which would be not something we want.
No,
So
I don't think
adopt,
so.
yeah, MASC.
So I think I'm going to be very embarrassed here and realize that I wasn't figuring we'd get as far as we were going to get.
oh, I see, look at that.
All right. No embarrassment needed at all.
It
We
did go
can-
rather quickly
It did.
compared to a lot of meetings.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have our second meeting scheduled for, what is it, April 26th?
April 26th, I believe, 25th or 26th.
Then we can
yeah.
just knock out the rest of I.
I agree.
All right, I will make sure you have all the information well ahead.
Well, and we can also find out maybe about that IGB
I will
Yeah.
find
in
out about
the,
that.
in
Yeah, I
the
wrote a note
interim,
to
and then
myself. Yep.
we can do that policy.
Yes.
Yeah, we can look at that one on that date as well, and I will find out the information we need to make an informed decision, right?
The
Sorry.
25th.
25th.
Tuesday the 25th.
Tuesday, oh yeah, I knew it was that week, I just didn't know
Yeah.
which day
Yeah.
that week.
Well, and thank you for realizing that we had both dates and could keep both on the calendar.
Absolutely, no, it's important work, yeah.
And just,
absolutely.
just know, I am a policy powerhouse, so just be prepared.
Wonderful.
So, I'd like to move to adjourn.
Second, roll call, please.
Member Dugan?
Yes,
Member Magnolia?
Yes.
okay, so, meeting adjourned.
Awesome.
Oh, that's a nice surprise.
That's good. Efficient.
Yeah, and you don't need to necessarily make us the policy.
No, what I will do, keep your packets.
Yeah.
Yep.
When she sends me
Yeah.
the rest of the analysis.